Much for coming and taking the time to speak with us.
Yes.
My name is Dan Steinmark, and I'm from right here in Mount Olive.
Very good.
I'm a software engineer, and I spend a fair amount of time on the internet, and I'm quite concerned over legislation affecting my freedoms and my privacy. In particular, I think I'm in agreement with nearly everyone when I say that I value an unbiased internet experience and that I value my privacy. So this is a question in two parts, one part regarding net neutrality and the other regarding online privacy. So, part one. Net neutrality is an important concept to ensure freedom of speech in an era dominated by electronic communication. Nearly all internet content creators and users agree and favor equal access to content and opportunity. And it's only a handful of the largest content companies and the nearly monopolistic internet service providers who want to skim even greater profit from us and shape what we get to see. What are you doing to ensure that we, your constituents, are able to continue to receive an unbiased internet experience?
Thank you. And do you have a second part of the question?
Yes. Okay. So, the President recently approved legislation rescinding FCC authority to limit privacy protections when we access the internet. I've heard justifications that the internet service providers, or ISPs, were placed at an unfair competitive advantage compared to websites and services such as Google or Facebook. However, Google and Facebook provide optional services that are free to use, whereas ISPs are paid for their services and operate in a nearly monopolistic environment. I do not want my private data made public by the corporation who controls my access to the breadth of information available on the internet. Will you support measures to assure that my ISP can never sell my personal information by supporting a bill such as the Marking Broadband Privacy Bill?
Thank you. I'll answer the second question first, but I'll try to answer both of your questions. This is a dispute between two federal agencies, the FCC and the FTC, Federal Communications Commission and Federal Trade Commission. Traditionally, regulation has occurred by the Federal Trade Commission, and I favor continued regulation by the Federal Trade Commission. The rejected regulations, I thought, were a departure from policies enforced by the Federal Trade Commission. They would have required ISPs, and just ISPs, not other aspects of the internet, to obtain affirmative consent or opt-in from every individual user before collecting and using information for any purpose. That is traditionally the way the internet works. Congress's disapproval does not authorize ISPs or anyone else to sell customer data or investigate your web browsing history. I want to make sure that is clear. ISPs have pledged to continue abiding by the FTC regime, and I think that is the way we should proceed. The Federal Communications Commission several years ago classified the ISPs as common carriers, but I do not believe that they are common carriers, and I believe that
That's right.
I believe that jurisdiction should be returned to the FTC. The market is increasingly dominated by just two companies. This is not ISPs. This is other aspects of the internet, the edge providers, Google and Facebook. And I think that we should have greater competition in that space, and I hope that return to the FTC will bring that about. Now, regarding net neutrality, what I favor is free and open access to the internet, and what is known in Washington in the parlance of this as a light touch regarding the internet. And while I think it's important to make sure that everyone has access to the internet, I want to make sure that there continues to be innovation, and the Congress will examine how to move forward in what I believe is a light touch, protecting the ability of all in this country to have access to the internet, but also protecting the rights of those who innovate to continue with innovations. When the legislation was initially enacted roughly 20 years ago, we could not have dreamed as to where the internet has taken us. And I think that we're not very good in Washington in anticipating where the internet will proceed from this point forward. And those are some of my views on it. I certainly respect your point of view and agree with you that you don't want personal and sensitive data in any way to be utilized by edge servers or by ISPs or by anybody else. Thank you for your question.